You know, some stories just seem to get more relevant over time, and E.M. Forster's classic, A Room with a View, is definitely one of them. On the surface, it's this lovely story about a young Englishwoman's trip to Italy, but really, it's about this huge, timeless question we all have to face. Are you going to live the life society expects of you, or the one you truly, deeply want for yourself? And the whole novel, I mean the entire thing, really boils down to this one simple choice, and it's posed right from the very beginning. Are you going to pick the safe, predictable, closed-in room, or are you going to opt for the vast, unpredictable, and maybe a little scary, passionate view? And let's be clear, this is not just about choosing a hotel room. Forster's asking us what kind of life we're going to choose. Our hero, Lucy Honeychurch, she catches on pretty fast that this isn't just about the scenery. Forster is setting up the novel's big central metaphor right here. It's this epic tug-of-war between the super-rigid, buttoned-up rules of Edwardian England and the incredible freedom that comes with living an authentic, passionate life. Okay, so our story kicks off in Florence, but we're not in some grand cathedral or art gallery. Nope, it all starts with a very simple, very British complaint about a hotel room. And believe it or not, this one little moment is the catalyst for a massive journey of self-discovery. So let's meet our players. We've got Lucy, a proper young Englishwoman, and her chaperone Charlotte, who is, let's just say, very concerned with appearances. They've come all the way to Italy to soak up the culture and beauty, but the room they get faces a boring old courtyard. It is the absolute opposite of the amazing, expansive view they were dreaming of. And that very night at the dinner table, you can just feel the tension. It's like two different planets have collided. On one side, you've got Lucy and Charlotte, who are all about doing things the proper way. And on the other side, we have Mr. Emerson and his son, George. They're frank, they're direct, and by the standards of everyone else at the table, they are totally and completely ill-bred.
So Mr. Emerson overhears them complaining, and to him, the solution is just obvious. He says, hey, we've got the rooms with the view, you ladies want them, so let's just swap. Simple, right? Well, no. In this world of unspoken rules and strict social codes, for a strange man to just make a direct offer like that, it's a huge scandal. It causes a total uproar.
And the way the whole thing goes down is what's really key. Charlotte only accepts after this big, dramatic show of reluctance, making it seem like she's making a huge sacrifice. So Lucy gets her view, but instead of feeling happy or grateful, she just feels weird, confused. And now she's stuck with this strange sense of obligation to these odd men. All right, with the room drama sorted, Lucy can finally get out and actually experience Florence. But the city, it's vibrant, it's alive, it's unpredictable. And it's about to completely shatter her sheltered little English world in ways she could never, ever have imagined. So picture it, Lucy is exploring the famous Piazza Signoria, and she stumbles right into a street quarrel that just explodes. A man is stabbed and dies right there in front of her. The shock is so overwhelming that she faints. And who just happens to be there to catch her? You guessed it, the quiet, intense George Emerson. In one split second, violence and fate have literally thrown them together. A little later, as they're walking back, George notices the photographs Lucy had just bought are stained with blood. And without saying a single word, he takes them from her and throws them into the River Arno, as if to wash the whole horrible moment away. It is this act of deep, unspoken understanding that creates this powerful bond between them, a bond forged in shared trauma. This connection between them gets even deeper during a little trip into the hills outside the city. Lucy wanders away from the group and suddenly she stumbles and tumbles right onto this hidden terrace that is just covered, carpeted with blue violets. And of course, George Emerson is there. He's just completely overwhelmed by the beauty of the moment, and he acts on this pure, spontaneous emotion, and he kisses her. It's an act that shatters every single social rule, but it is also the most honest, the most real thing that has ever happened to Lucy in her entire life. So, what happens after that? Well, Lucy is completely terrified by the intensity of Italy, terrified by her own feelings. So she does what any proper young lady would do. She runs. She rushes back to the safety of England, and she slams the door on that view she experienced, locking herself firmly back inside a room. And that room has a name: Cecil Vyse. He is everything George is not. He's proper, he's passionless, he's a bit of a snob, and he is utterly conventional. On paper, he is the perfect match. But Lucy herself thinks of him as a room with no view. He's the safe choice, the one who promises to protect her from the messy, complicated world of real feelings. Now, in order to maintain this safe engagement, Lucy has to pretend that Italy never happened. And this denial traps her in this prison she builds for herself, brick by brick. She starts lying to everyone, to George, to Cecil, to her family. But the biggest lie of all is the one she's telling herself. But life and that view, they have a funny way of catching up to you. In a crazy twist of fate, who rents a house in her quiet little village? The Emersons. The very people she is trying so desperately to forget. All of a sudden, the passion and truth of Italy are right on her doorstep. A confrontation is basically guaranteed. And when that confrontation happens, it's just pure genius. Her fiancé, Cecil, is reading aloud from some trashy romance novel, thinking he's being very clever and ironic. But the passage he's reading, it perfectly describes Lucy and George's kiss in the violets. George hears his own actions described, gets a surge of courage, and kisses her for a second time, right there. Well, that second kiss completely demolishes her prison of lies. Lucy just can't pretend anymore. The time has come for her to make a real conscious choice. The respectable, safe room of a life with Cecil, or the passionate, unpredictable view that George represents. And this is it. This is Lucy's great aha moment. She finally confronts Cecil. And it's not just about the kiss, it's about how he treats her, how his whole world tries to box people in and stifle them. She chooses life, she chooses people, and she breaks off the engagement.
So this is what the title is all about. It's the core choice of the entire story. The room is a life of safety, of convention, of doing what society tells you to do. The view? Well, that's a life of passion, of truth, of being your authentic self. Yeah, it's riskier, but it's real.
But even after breaking up with Cecil, Lucy almost chickens out. She's ready to run away from it all. It takes one last powerful conversation with Mr. Emerson, George's dad, who just begs her not to give up on love and truth. And that's what finally gives her the courage she needs. She stops fighting her own heart, and she chooses George. And the story comes full circle in the most beautiful way. It ends exactly where it began, in that room at the boarding house in Florence. But this time, Lucy and George are there together, as a married couple, finally and fully embracing their shared view. Forster's novel is over a century old, but its central question feels like it could have been written yesterday. It forces us to look at our own lives, our own choices, our own compromises, and to ask ourselves, in all the decisions we make, big and small, are we settling for the safety of the room, or are we brave enough to step outside and embrace the view?